Well, with me to talk about that is Stacy Hilliard. She's a Republican voter living in the United Kingdom. Thank you for being with us. And you have been in the past deputy chairman, I think, of Republicans abroad. This whole thing, so you got the White House, the Obama administration, trying to get support for a strike against Damascus, and there could be a vote later in the week. It doesn't kind of split Democrats versus Republicans, does it?
No, it doesn't. I think a lot of that has to do with the American public is actually quite war-weary in the sense that they've been working in the Middle East and having strikes there since about 1979, but with a very much of a no-win situation. And we don't feel like there's a positive outcome that's coming. We just seem to be creating more and more tension as it ebbs and flows each time we go in.
But I guess that just makes this the chances of it trying to predict or guess what's going to happen. Perhaps there'll be a vote later this week in Congress. It's going to make it very difficult because, within the Republican Party itself, you've got kind of the Tea Party people who are dead against it, but others actually have already backed the president.
Well, you have people like Representative Peter King in New York who has said, I'm going to vote for it because I feel it's the right thing to do. I think that's the international community has made a commitment to this where we should go in despite the president's leadership on this. And I think that's one of the things you have, particularly with those in the Tea Party faction of the party, that have said that the president hasn't been able to show a strong leadership. We need somebody who's a Reagan, a Kennedy, and Eisenhower who would stand up and say, this is wrong and we think we need to go in and do something about it. But he's constantly repositioned himself. And you saw that in particular after the vote here in the United Kingdom, that he then kind of switched tack and said, well, I'm going to go to Congress and this is about democracy. So
the issue of the president and his qualities as leader, that is, you're saying, an issue. What would the White House have to do? What would the administration have to do to kind of get more people backing it? Because I noticed that the Chief of Staff himself has said, they're never going to produce this beyond doubt evidence. So if they can't produce that, is there anything they can do?
Right. I think it's going to come down to the administration. It's going to come down to the Chief of Staff. It's going to come down to John Kerry, the Secretary of State, actually going into Congress, working with the congressional committees, the different caucuses, working with the Senate to say, this is what we need to be doing. And having them put the pitch forward, I think they're going to do it much more effectively than the president. But the president is doing a round of interviews with the news channels today, and then he's speaking to the nation on Tuesday and trying to put that case forward to the electorate. And so we'll see if that starts to change minds as people are returning to Congress.
But is it your view that Congress is persuadable? In other words, there'll be people on either side who are absolutely stuck in their ways, but do you think there are enough people who are persuadable that Obama has a chance?
I think the Washington Post yesterday released a poll that showed that if the vote was taken today, there's about 220 undecided. So there's definitely scope there for it to be a yes, no, or a no vote.
OK. Stacy Hilliard, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming into the studio and talking to us on GMT.